Good morning to all. Myself Rajapandi, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Erode Secondary Engineering College, Erode. Today we are see the topic environmental pollution. Okay. Introduction of environmental pollution is nothing but the environmental pollution may be defined as the unfavorable alteration of our surroundings. It can changes the quality of air, water, land, and interferes with the health of the humans and other life of earth. The pollution are different kind of depending on the nature of pollutant generated from the different sources. For the example of industry and automobile industries, thermal power plants, farmings, and nuclear reactors, and generate a different type of pollutants, causing the pollution to air and water bodies and lands. And the type of pollutants here, two types of pollutants are here: biodegradable pollutants and non-degradable pollutants. The biodegradable pollutants are decomposes rapidly by natural processes, and other than non-degradable pollutants or non-degradable pollutants do not decompose or decompose slowly in the environment, so it will affect the environment. Slowly decomposed materials are more dangerous because it is more difficult to remove them. And the classification of pollutions, there different kind of pollutions that affect the environment are air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, marine pollution, noise pollution, thermal pollution, and nuclear hazards. uh, and then air pollution is nothing but it is defined by the presence of one or more contaminants like dust, smoke, mist, odor in this atmosphere, which are injurious to human beings, plants, and animals. Rapid industrialization and fast urbanization, rapid growth in population, drastic increases in vehicles on the roads, and other activities of human beings have disturbed in the air and unbalanced to the air natural atmospheres. And the chemical composition of atmospheric air. So, during several billion of years, the chemical and biological evolution, the composition of Earth and atmosphere has varied. Today, mostly 99% of volume of air are inhaled consists of two gases. One is nitrogen and another one is oxygen. The composition of atmospheric air is nothing but nitrogen is 78% and the oxygen is 21%. Argon is less than 1%. Carbon dioxide 0.03%, and the water vapor is remaining. And the oxygen, helium, and ammonia is trace amount of were present in the atmospheric air. And uh, the air quality standards, our Indian government are fixed the standard of air quality. So it's a very legal limit and placed on the concentration of air pollutants in a community where people and things are exposed. The ambient air quality standards are permissible exposure of all living and non-living things for 24 hours per day, 7 days per week. Indian ambient and air quality standards are given in the below the table. For like air quality standards are industrial or mixed uses, the level is 500 concentration, and carbon monoxide is 5000, and residential and rural is 2000, and sensitive tourist places like tourist places and hill stations are allowed into 1000 only. And sources of air pollution, the natural resources, examples for volcanic eruptions uh, and forest fires, biological decay, pollen grains, marshes, radioactive materials, so are pollute the air pollutions. And these pollutants are caused by the natural resources and man-made activities like thermal power plants, vehicle emissions. We are using the most of the vehicles are petrol and diesel, so it emit the carbon dioxide. So that is vehicular emission of fossil fuel burning, agricultural activities. These are the man-made activities, so it will pollute the air. And classification, these are two classifications. First one is primary air pollutants and another one is secondary air pollutants. The primary air pollutants are nothing but emitted directly in the atmosphere for harmful form, for example nitrogen monoxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide. So these are the primary air pollutants. And secondary air pollutants, indoor air pollutants, Indoor air pollutants. Indoor air pollutants are primary air pollutants. The most important indoor air pollution is radon gases. So the radon gases are emitted from the building materials like concrete, cement, bricks. So these kind of materials were emit the radon gases, and then it is also present in the natural gas and groundwater and is emitted indoor of the building materials and while using them. The burning of fuels in the kitchen, like cigarette smoke, liberates the pollutants of carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, formaldehyde, and benzoypyrene. So these are the contaminants of the indoor air pollutants. And secondary air pollutants is nothing but primary air pollutants may react with the one another, but the basic compounds of air to form new pollutants. So the secondary air pollutants are to form the new pollutants. So it is called as air pollutants. The common air pollutant sources and their effects. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), more than 1.1 billion people live in urban areas where outdoor air is unhealthy to breathe. Some of the common air pollutants are described below. Carbon monoxide, like the description of carbon monoxide is nothing but it is a colorless and odorless, poisonous, and air-breathing animals. It is formed during the incomplete combustion of carbon-containing fuels. The reaction is showed in the slide. And human sources, cigarette. Humans are smoking the cigarette, so it will liberate the carbon dioxide, and it will incomplete burning of fossil fuels. About 77% of people comes from 77% of carbon dioxide comes from motor vehicle exhaust. And health effects of air pollutants: reacts with hemoglobin to red blood cells and reduce the ability of blood to bring oxygen to body cells and tissues, which causes headaches and anemia. At high levels, it causes coma, irreversible brain cell damage, and death. The environmental effects of the air pollution: it increases the global temperature. Nitrogen dioxide, it is a reddish brown irritating gas that gives photochemical smog. In this atmosphere, it can be converted into nitric acid. The reaction is between nitric oxide plus moisturized water gives nitric acid. So it will affect the human lung. For human sources of producing nitrogen dioxide: fossil fuel burning the motor vehicles more than 49%, and power industrial plants are more than 49% are producing the nitrogen dioxide. And health effects: it will affect the lung damages. And environmental effects: acid deposition of nitric acid can damage trees, soils, and aquatic life in lake. Nitric acid can corrode the metals and eat away stone on buildings, statues, and monuments. Nitrogen dioxide can damage the fabrics. Recent days, Taj Mahal will affect the nitrogen dioxide, so it will paints or corrode the paints or corrode. Sulfur dioxide, it is a colorless and irritating gas. It is formed mostly from the combustion of sulfur containing fossil fuels such as coal and oil in the atmosphere. It can be converted to sulfuric acid, which is a major component of acid deposition. The human are the most of the sulfur dioxide is the produced from the human sources like coal burning in the power plants more than 88%, and industrial processor more than 10%. The health effects of the sulfur dioxide: so breathing problems are for healthy peoples. So these are the main factor of sulfur dioxide. And the environmental effects: reduce visibility, acid deposition of H2SO4 can damage trees, soils, and aquatic life in lakes. And suspended particle matter of the air pollution is includes a variety of particles and droplets. They can be suspended in atmosphere for short periods and too long periods. The human sources of suspended particle matter: burning coal in power and industrial plants 49%, burning diesel and other fuels in vehicles 17%, agriculture, road construction. These are the main sources of the suspended particles. Health effects, mostly nose and throat are irritate to the people, lung damage, bronchitis, asthma, reproductive problems, and cancer. So those are the problems of human beings. And environmental effects, reduces visibility, acid deposition, and sulfuric acid droplets can damage the trees, soils, aquatic life in lakes. And ozone, O3. Ozone is a highly reactive, irritating gas with an unpleasant odor. So that forms the troposphere, forms in the troposphere. It is a major component of the photochemical smog. So the human sources of the ozone will affect the volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides. These are gases are mostly produced by or emitted by cars and industries and vehicles. So and environmental effects, the climate were changed in the earth. And hydrocarbons, so the aromatic aliphatic compounds were present in the hydrocarbons. The hydrocarbons, especially lower hydrocarbons, get accumulated due to the decay of vegetable matter. Mostly the human sources were agriculture, decay of plants, and the burning of wet logs. So these are the sources of production of hydrocarbons. uh, the human health were affected by the carcinogenic diseases. Environmental effect, so it produces an oily film on the surface and do not as such causes a serious problem until they react to form secondary pollutants. Ethylene causes a plant damages even at low concentrations. And then control measures of air pollution is nothing but has several building in a self-cleaning process, such as dispersion, gravitational settling, and flocculation, absorption, rain wash out, and so on. To clean the atmosphere in terms of a long-range control of air pollution, and control of contaminants at their sources is more desirable and effective method through preventive or control technologies. The control methods for removing the particulate of exhaust gases. So these are four techniques are controlling the removing suspended particles. And source control, we know the substances that causes air pollution. The first approach of the its control will be through source reduction. Some actions that can be taken in this regard as follows. First one is use only unleaded petrol. Alternatively, we have to use electric vehicles, use petroleum products and other fuels that have low sulfur and as content. Reduce the number of private vehicles on the road by developing an efficient public transport system and encouraging people to walk or use cycles. Ensure that houses, schools, restaurants, and places where children play are not located on busy streets. Plant more trees along busy streets because they remove particles and carbon monoxide and absorbs the noise. Sixth one is industries and waste disposal sites should be situated outside the city centre, preferably downwind of the society. And seventh one is the catalytic converters to help the control of the emissions like carbon monoxides and hydrocarbons. And the control measures in the industrial sectors, the emission rates is increased from the industrial sites. So should restricted the permissible levels by each and every industries, like small scale and large scale industries. Incorporation of air pollutions control equipments in the design of the plant layout must be made mandatory. And the continuous monitoring the atmosphere for the pollution control board should watch the emission level and control the pollutants. And equipments were used in the control of air pollution. The air pollution can be reduced by adopting the following approaches, ensure the sufficient supply of the oxygen to the combustion of chamber adequate temperature so that combustion is complete, eliminating much of the smoke consisting partly burned ashes and dust. So it will it will very useful for control the air pollution. And use of mechanical devices such as scrubber, cyclones, baghouses, electrostatic residuars, reducing particulate pollutants. So these are the main controlling equipments of the air pollution. All these methods retain hazardous materials that must be disposed of safely. The wet scrubber can also reduce the sulfur dioxide emissions, and the chemical treatments where deal the factory fumes. The disposal of the collected air pollutants is equally important for successful control of air pollution. And the chemical and photochemical reactions in the atmosphere, formation of smog. The smog is a mixture of smoke and fog, suspended droplet form. The brownish smoke-like appearance that like frequently forms on clear and sunny days over large cities with a significant amount of automobile traffic. These are two types of smogs are there. First one is London smog, and another one is Los Angeles smog. Like London smog is nothing but a cold smoke plus fog. A cold smog plus fog. Fog mainly consists of mixture of sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, and humidity. A trace amount of humidity. It's a bad in morning hours, becomes a worse after sunrises. This is due to sunlight induced oxidation of sulfur dioxide plus sulfur trioxide, followed by the reaction with humidity giving sulfuric acid and aerosol. The following reactions are the formation of London smog. And Los Angeles smog is nothing but related to smoke or fog. So it is formed by the combination of nitrogen monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, water molecule, carbon monoxide, and sulfur dioxide, and unburned hydrocarbon particles. The unburned hydrocarbon particles means the emitted petroleum product like carbon dioxide, nothing also. So the important reaction or dissociation of nitrogen dioxide are given below the reaction. The nitrogen dioxide with react with sunlight. So the oxygen molecules will liberate to the nitrogen dioxide, and nitrogen monoxide were formed. So it is the Los Angeles smog. And health effects of smog is where irritation of eyes, lungs, and it damages the plants, irritates the nose, throat. So these are the main health effects of the uh, smog. And environmental effects of the smog were produced acid rain. So the damages of plants and trees. Acid rain also damage the plants and trees, and reduce the visibility. So these are the main factors are effects by the smog. And remedial measures of smog. Remedial is nothing but the nitrogen dioxide and hydrocarbons levels in the air should decrease in the air, and unleaded petrol in automobiles we are using, and peroxyacetyl nitrates, where the description of peroxyacetyl nitrates is nothing but a secondary pollutant were present in the photochemical smog. So it's a latchmetry substances. It's a thermally unstable and decomposes into a peroxy, ethynyl radicals, and nitrogen dioxide in the gas. It's an accident and more stable than ozone. The pan is affected by the human health, like um, uh, respiratory and eye irritations are toxic in nature. Uh, at the same time, it is in higher concentration, extensive damage of the vegetations, causing skin cancer. Like these also the main factors are affected by the human health and production of pan. So the peroxyacetyl nitrates are produced by the photochemical reactions between the hydrocarbons, nitrogen dioxide, and the light. So it occurs the two steps. Like first one is unburned hydrocarbons where undergo the oxidation of a light, and it give the aldehyde group of ketones and dicarbonyl compounds, which creates the peroxyacyl radicals. So these are the reaction of unburned hydrocarbon undergo the uh, light. So these are the reactions for production of pan. And the step 2 is nothing but peroxyl radicals were combined with nitrogen dioxide to form peroxyacyl nitrates. So these are the main factors of production to the peroxyacyl acetyl nitrates. Then the acid rain. So sorry, sources of pan. So it comes from the degradation of isoprene and hydrocarbon acylation, blended gasoline with ethanol. So environmental effects. So the pan will affect the environment. So damage the plant art, like statues are also. Recently the Taj Mahal will affect the these kind of pollutions. So the paints are also corroded in the building. So react explosively and play a very large role of photochemical smog. So these are the very important and very effectively working the environment. And acid rain. Acid rain is nothing but we are also know already know the all the acid rain, slightly acidic, because normal rainwater is always slightly acidic because of the fact that carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere gets dissolved in it. Because of the presence of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide gases are pollutants in the atmosphere, the pH of the rain water is furtherly lowered. So pH of the rainwater furtherly low. This type of precipitations are called as acid rain. So the pH scale is of acid rain. Like normally our water is pH is normally 7, but the acid rain like water is less than 6, less than 5. So 1 or 2 or 3. So these are the pH scale of acid rain. So these are the graphical form of the acid rain. The acid rain means the presence of excessive acids in rainwater. The thermal power plants, industries, vehicles are emit the nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, and when these gases are reactive with water vapor in the atmosphere, they form acids descent on to earth, acid rain through the rainwater. Effect of acid rains. The acid rain causes a number of harmful effects. Some of adverse effects are as in acid rain of human beings. Effects of acid rain of human beings. The acidic rain has been found to be very dangerous to the living organisms, as it can destroy the human life, human nervous system, respiratory system, and digestive system are affected by acid rain. It also causes the premature death from heart and lung disorders such as asthma, bronchitis, like this kind of diseases were affected by the human health. And the effect of acid rains on buildings, like already we are discussing the Taj Mahal in Agra, suffering at the present due to sulfur dioxide and nitric acid, sulfuric acid fumes released from the Madurai refinery. So the crystals are of copper sulfate and magnesium sulfate are formed as a result of corrosion caused by the acid rain. And another factor, the acid rain corrodes houses and monuments, statues, bridges and fences. British Parliament building also suffered in the damage of history of rains. Acid rain and dry depositions are of acidic particles contribute to the corrosion of metals and the deterioration of paint and stone. These are effects seriously reduce the value of buildings, bridges, cultural effects, cultural objects. So these are the main effects of the main environmental effect by the acid rain. And effects of acid rain on terrestrial and lake ecosystem. So the main environmental ecosystem are affected by the acid rain, like acid precipitation on terrestrial vegetation reduces. So reduces rate of photosynthesis and growth, and increasing sensitivity to drought and diseases. Acid rain severely retards the growth of crops such as beans, radish, potatoes, spinach, and carrots also. Then causes of a number of complications in bonds, river and lakes where it accumulates as acid snow. It causes a significant reduction of in fish populations. In black flies like mosquitoes, a small tear flies and the aquatic worms occur abundantly where fishes are eliminated due to the acid deposition. The activity of the bacteria and other microscopic animals is reduced in acidic water. So the dead materials and other accumulated substances lying on the bottom of lakes are not rapidly decomposed. The essential nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus stay locked up in dead wastages. Biomass production is reduced and these populations declines. And control measures of acid rain, whereas improvement of in technologies and switching to clean combustion technologies are highly essential into the order of air pollutions. And the emission of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide from industries and power plants should be reduced by using pollution control equipments. Coal with lower sulfur content is desirable to use in thermal plants. Replacement of coal by natural gas would also reduce the problem. So these are the control measure of acid rains. And some other kind of control measures are liming of lakes and soils should be done to correct the adverse effects of acid rain. So the real solution is cut back into the use of fossil fuels by reducing our dependency on motor vehicles and unnecessary utility of motor articles. So and oxygen and ozone chemistry. So already we know the oxygen chemistry. The word oxygen comes from the Greek words oxy and genes. Together means acid forming. Our atmosphere currently contains 21% of free oxygen, but we are decreasing the oxygen level. So at the same time, carbon dioxide are increasing. It plays an important role in the every human health and environment. uh, uh, like sustaining life without any oxygen, animals would not be unable to breathe and consequently die. And production of oxygen, it was produced by various ways. First one is photochemical dissociation and photosynthesis and industrial productions. The photochemical dissociation of water molecules by UV rays produces about 1 to 2% of oxygen. The photosynthesis naturally by the plants, which involves the following general reaction like carbon dioxide react with water molecule and under the sunlight. So it produces the carbohydrate and the ozone oxygen molecules will also the byproduct of the photosynthesis process. So it is a natural process. And industrial production, oxygen is industrially produced by fractional distillation by the liquefied air like nitrogen. The structure of oxygen is two number of oxygen molecules. The configuration is also 1s2, 2s2 and 2p4, and its oxygen valence is 2. It's a paramagnetic structure. uh, and ozone chemistry, the ozone molecule like O2 molecule is not elemental form of oxygen. The another form is like allotropic form. The oxygen is ozone in molecular formula is O3. Production of ozone is formation. Ozone involves the following two steps. Like first one is in the presence of lightning uh, or a spark of light, oxygen molecule dissociate to form the oxygen atoms. And step 2 is these oxygen atoms react with the oxygen molecules to form a ozone. And the structure of ozone is this is the unstable form with a sharp and pungent odor. It is a structure is shown in below uh, in the PowerPoint. Oxygen and ozone are examples of the allotropic form having different chemical and physical properties. And properties of ozone is it undergoes a slow decomposition to give oxygen, and in this decomposition at lower concentration, in lower concentration it is relatively pleasant, and at it higher concentration, the higher concentration ozone leads to coughing, rapid beating of the heart, chest pain, general body pains. Like also these kind of affects by the human health at higher concentration. Ozone layer depletion. Ozone is a gas, already we are discussing ozone. It's found throughout the atmosphere, but at most highly concentrated in the stratosphere between 10 and 50 kilometer above the sea level, where it is known as the ozone layer. The importance of ozone layer: without the ozone layer, life on Earth's surface would not be possible. It protects us a human being us from the damaging of ultraviolet radiation from the sun. In particular, it filters out UV radiation. Recent evidences has shown the certain parts of the ozone layer are becoming thinner and ozone holes have developed. The consequences of any thinning of the ozone layer is more UV radiations reach the Earth's surface. UV radiations are affected by the human DNA molecule, causing damage to the outer surface of the plant and animals. In humans, it causes the skin cancer and eye diseases. And ozone depleting substances. So the ozone depleting substances essentially consist of chlorine or bromine atoms, which are extremely reactive. They are in the free state. The following gases are accumulated in the atmosphere and are found to be instruments in ozone depletion, like CFC will affect the ozone layer. So first one is CFC is source of refrigerative homemade appliances of refrigerator and propellant in the aerosol spray cans, blowing agent, foaming plastic materials, and blowing agents, and hydrofluorocarbons like refrigerator blowing agents, and bromine fluorocarbons are affected by the ozone. So it was produced by the fire extinguisher, and then other chemicals of the affected by the ozone layer, like certain halogen compounds are potentially destroy the ozone up to 10 times more powerful than the chlorofluorocarbons. But day-to-day life, we are producing the trace amount of other chemicals like carbon dioxide and other gases. And sometimes the atmospheric sulfur dioxide is converted into the sulfuric acid, which greatly increases the rate of ozone layer depletion. And effect of the ozone layer depletion and the impact of environmental effects. Ozone layer gets deteriorated, the harmful UV rays will reach the ground and cause various adverse effects. Like first one is the human health affected by the ozone layer depletion. The UV rays were damage the genetic material in the skin cells and cause the skin cancer. And fair-skinned people are lifelong exposure to the high level of radiation of the UV rays, increasing the risk of non-melanin skin cancers. And it prolongs the human exposure to UV rays may lead to slow blindness and called actinic keratitis. Enhanced level of UV rays could be more people suffering from the cataracts. And humans are exposed to the UV rays can suppress the immune responses like humans and animals. So it will reduces the human resistivity to leading the number of diseases like cancer, allergies, some other infections of the diseases are affected the humans. And the ozone layer depletions are affected by the aquatic system, as such as photoplankton, fish, larval crabs. So these are the main effects of the aquatic systems. And phytoplankton consumes a large amount of carbon dioxide. So this is a main factor of main effect of aquatic system. And decrease in population phytoplankton would have more amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It will contribute the global warming. So some kind of materials are affected by the ozone layer. So degradation of paints, plastics and other polymeric materials. So these are the materials are affected by the ozone layer. And effect of climate, the ozone layer or depletion chemicals can contribute to the global warming. For example, the increase in average temperature of earth's surface and measurement of ozone. The measurement of ozone is nothing but the amount of atmospheric ozone is measured by Dobson spectrometer and is expressed by the Dobson unit DU. Uh, DU is 1 DU is equal to 0.01 mm thickness of pure ozone, and the density of it possesses it is brought to the ground level to the 1 atmospheric pressure. And control measure of ozone layer depletion, the replacing chlorofluorocarbons by other materials which are less damaging. Uses of gases such as methyl bromide, which is a crop fumigant, also to be controlled. And manufacturing and using of ozone layer depletion chemicals should be stopped. These are the control measures of the ozone layer depletion. And some specifications of drinking water. Water should be clear and the common specification recommended by the US Public Health for drinking water as water should be clear and odorless. It should be in cool condition, and it should be in pleasant to taste. Turbidity of the water should not exceed in 10 parts per million, and pH of the water should be range is in between the 7.0 to 8.5. Chloride and sulfate content should be less than 250 parts per million, and total hardness of water should be less than 500 parts per million. So the total dissolved solids should be less than 500 parts per million, and fluoride content of the water should be less than 1.5 parts per million. The water must be free from disease producing bacteria, and water should be free from objectionable dissolved gases like H2S. Water should be free from objectionable minerals such as lead, chromium, manganese, and arsenic like of salts. Water quality standards is must in our daily life. So water used to drinking should have a certain quality. In this shown table, we are shows the standard of drinking water, like odor, color, and taste are the um, very important to the drinking water, and pH is most important for drinking water. And dissolved solids like some kind of minerals are very important for our human health. So these are the main factor of standards of drinking water. And water pollution is maybe defined as the alteration in physical and chemical biological characters of the water. So it may be causes that or harmful effects on humans and aquatic life. The pollutants include sewage, industrial chemicals, and effluents, oil, and other wastages. Besides, chemicals from the air dissolved in rainwater and fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides leached from the land also pollute water. So, and types and effects of the water pollution. So, the water pollution is any chemical, biological, physical challenge or in water quality that has called as harmful effects of living organisms, or making water is unsuitable for desired uses. Infectious agents like bacteria, virus, protozoa, and parasitic forms are the infectious agents for the water pollution. And the human sources is most affected by the water pollution. And oxygen demanding waste like dissolved oxygen, the degradation organic waste such as animal manure and plant debris that can be decomposed by aerobic in condition like bacteria. And this degradation consumes dissolved oxygen in water. Dissolved oxygen like is amount of oxygen dissolved in the given quantity of water at a particular pressure and temperature. The saturated point of the dissolved oxygen varies in 8 to 15 milligram per liter. And the effects of water pollution, the large populations of bacteria decomposing these wastages can degrade water quality by depletion of water of dissolved oxygen. This causes fish and other forms of oxygen consuming aquatic life to die. So inorganic chemicals like water soluble inorganic chemicals are affected by the water pollutions like acids, compounds of toxic metals such as lead, arsenic, selenium, and are some kind of trace amount of metals are affected by the water. And salts such as sodium chloride in ozone water and fluoride molecules are found in the soils. So these kind of factors are affected by the water pollution. Water and human sources like surface runoff and industrial effluents and household cleaners are affected by the main factor of affect by the water. And the effect of water pollution can make the fresh water unusable for drinking or irrigations, and it causes by the skin cancer and neck damages, damage the nervous system, liver, kidney, and some other human organs. And it will affect the aquatic life and lower crop yields, accelerate the corrosion of metals exposed to such kind of water. And organic chemicals. So the organic chemicals were oil, gasoline, plastics, pesticides, cleaning solvents, detergents, and harmful organic compounds were affected by the water, and it will contaminate to the water molecule. And effects, it can threaten by human health by causing the nervous system damage and some cancer activity, and it will very harmful for aquatic life, harmful for fish and wildlife animals. And plant nutrients, the water soluble compounds containing nitrate, phosphate, and ammonium ions, so it was affected by the water molecule. So effectively, it can causes by the excessive growth of algae and other aquatic plants, which die, decay, deplete dissolved oxygen in water and kill the fish. And drinking water with excessive level of nitrates lower the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, and it can kill urban children and infants. So, and sediments, the soils and slips are mainly affected by the water. Contaminated soils and slips are affected by the water. And effects of this kind of water pollution were made by the uh, can reduce the photosynthesis and cloud water, disrupt aquatic food webs, carry pesticides and bacteria and other harmful substances were affected by the water, and settle out that destroy feeding and spawning the rounds of fish, clock and fill lakes, artificial reservoirs, stream channels and harbors are also affected by the waters. And some kind of radioactive materials are affected by the water. Radioactive isotopes of iodine, radon, uranium, cesium, and thorium. So these are the kind of affected by the water. So the effects of this kind of radioactive materials affected by the water, genetically mutate and birth defect certain cancers. So these are the main health effects of the radioactive water pollution. And thermal pollution. So excessive amount of heat were produced from human being or industrial. So these are affected by the water. The water Your lower effects of water pollution of in heat, thermal pollution, in lower dissolved oxygen levels, and makes aquatic organisms more vulnerable to disease, parasites, and toxic chemicals. When a power plant first opens and or shutdowns for repair, fish or other organisms are adapted to a particular temperature range can be killed by the abrupt change of the water temperature. It is known as thermal shock. And point and the non-point sources of water pollution, like point sources are discharged by the pollutants at specific location through pipes, ditches, savers into bodies of surface water. For example, they include factories, sewage treatment of plants, abundant underground mines and oil tankers, and non-fine sources. They are usually large land areas or airsheds that pollute water by runoff, subsurface area flow, or deposition from the atmosphere, location of which cannot be easily identified. For example, the acid deposition, runoff chemicals into surface water from croplands, livestock feedlots, large forest, urban streets, lawn, golf courses, and parking lots. So these are three pollutions are very effectively uh, worked by human health and environment. So these are the main factors of pollutions of environment. So thank you.